You should be careful about your cholesterol intake, Detective.
What are we, dating?
Careful what you look for, Mr. Reese, or you might find it.
Reese and Finch receive a new number, Zoe Morgan, a high-end fixer who specializes in solving problems for powerful clients. Initially, it's unclear whether she is a victim or a perpetrator. Reese begins his investigation by being her driver for the night. She is skeptical, but Finch takes care of that. Behind the scenes, Finch breaks into her house to search for any possible evidence. She meets some dealers on the docks and buys a gun, while Finch also finds a gun in her apartment. At the party, Reese tails her and quickly discovers that she's a fixer, already putting her as a possible victim, yet working on a dangerous case involving a major pharmaceutical company. Through the progression of the story, an old man is stabbed in his house and the knife was rusty. When checking the records, Carter discovers the name Elias. Marlene Elias, who was stabbed in the back, is a 40-year-old case, just like in episode 3. Reese sees that Zoe is on business as usual, but her work is dangerous enough that people from a distance keep an eye on her, making her all more of a target. Meanwhile, Carter's investigation of Elias' case begins and she finds records of the past of a kid. She contacts one of the officers who were in on the murder case, Detective Sullivan, and finds out more about the kid Elias. Carter believes that Elias is the one who went to all the trouble to commit the crime because no one else would have that much personal interest in the case. As she returns the drive from her earlier work, Zoe meets up with her client and Reese immediately senses the trouble and runs from it. Zoe has obtained a recording, which later Finch finds that it is proof of a new drug being pushed to market that has deadly side effects, and the company is desperate to keep the information from leaking. And this wasn't the first time Finch heard the name of the lady's voice, Dana Miller. She was another number that Finch got months ago but couldn't save her. Finch poses as an investor and infiltrates the pharmaceuticals, giving Lawson a watch as a gift. Lawson himself gives Finch a tour while also mentioning their new drug, supposedly made to fix migraines. The watch was actually a device to record anything going on in the office. They want to take care of Zoe. They get the location of Zoe once again and Reese goes to meet her. They exchange information and then they decide to infiltrate the Office of Pharmaceuticals. There, they discover the names on the list, people who had died because of the drug and their names buried. Finch uses the surroundings of the office to clear out the audio they got from Zoe, but both Reese and Zoe are caught in that moment and Finch is late. He tries to reach out to Keller to give him the information as it is a life or death situation. Zoe and Reese are cuffed in an unknown location. They offer them that the one to give out the information of the recording first will get to live. Zoe assures them that she will get them the files and kisses Reese before going, secretly giving him a paperclip to unlock his cuffs. Getting the hint, Reese later goes to rescue her. Zoe acknowledges Reese's abilities and hints that their paths may cross again. Meanwhile, Detective Carter finds Detective Sullivan dead in his apartment, the only person who knew about the past of Elias. Anyone who was connected with the Dana Miller case was now facing charges. Reese and Zoe part ways. The machine identifies a new number, yet with quite a twist. Charlie Burton, a seemingly mild-mannered schoolteacher living in Brooklyn. Reese begins surveillance only to realize that Charlie is in grave danger. He witnessed a brutal execution carried out by the Russian mafia and is now their next target. When the hitmen storm his apartment, Reese intervenes just in time, pulling Charlie out and taking him on the run. But Reese loses contact with Finch as his phone breaks. Throughout the episode, the name Elias rings out a lot. Everyone fears it even more than the Russian mafia. Reese and Charlie barely evade multiple assassination attempts. Charlie appears overwhelmed and terrified, but Reese becomes suspicious of his behavior. How can someone who is just a school teacher be so calm and knowing of every path being too logical, all while being shot? Finch digs into Charlie's background and finds inconsistencies that suggest there's more to him than meets the eye. Carter works with Lionel and Szymanski on this case, but they're unaware of all the dirty cops within their group working with Elias and those with the Russian mafia. Finch gets in touch with Lionel because he is not getting any information on where Reese could be.
You should be careful about your cholesterol intake, Detective.
What are we, dating?
Meanwhile, Carter and Szymanski are curious about this case because they worry about where Elias gets his information from, that everyone is scared of him, even joining forces with other territories to take him out. As they hide out in an abandoned building, Reese gets in contact with Finch again, and Finch guides Reese through the blueprints of the building. Carter and Szymanski go to Ivan Yegorov to tell them about his brother Don, who could likely be the father of Elias. Ivan refuses to cooperate with them, believing that Elias is a coward who started a war on their territory. Making their way out, Reese and Charlie head to the ferry, but somehow someone got intel on where they could be. Fusco surely wasn't the one behind it. One mafia member was tied on the ferry and one in the investigation room. The suspense builds up to the big reveal. Charlie finally drops his act and reveals the truth. he is actually Carl Elias, a highly intelligent and ruthless crime boss who has been operating under a false identity. The entire situation was orchestrated by Elias himself to eliminate his competition within the Russian mafia, all while making himself appear to be an innocent victim. Reese, realizing he has unknowingly helped a dangerous player gain more power. Both Finch and Reese are in despair because more numbers will come up just because they couldn't figure out Elias. Now all of his competition is gone, and it's only the beginning. Reese and Finch receive another number, Wallace Nagel, who is in New York Central Stations, and it seems like hitmen are after him. Finch tells Reese about Wallace, a former Stasi operative from East Germany who has been living in New York under a false identity. Never left a single digital footprint. But how can one with no digital footprint be found on any database? Well, worry not, as Finch is a man of mystery, and he has a trick up his sleeve. He knows a place hidden within a library that has records so old that even the government may not have access to them. Getting all of the data he needed on Wallace, they discover that Wallace is actually Cole, a former German spy, who lost his wife after a car crash. As Reese investigates, he realizes that Nagel is systematically tracking down and assassinating former Stasi members who were connected with his wife, Anya, betrayed him after the fall of the Berlin Wall. When Reese finds Cole's first victim, who seems to have been interrogated before he left, Cole was after something. While Reese is looking around for clues, a German intelligence agent stops him, but Reese takes him down. Cole is on to his next target, while Reese believes that the death of his wife was staged. Cole's mission is personal. These were the very people who turned on him decades ago, and now he's hunting them one by one, taking down another target. It was a team of 4 that fled to New York to have a new life. But Cole was someone who was left behind and was caught. Reese gets into the ambulance that had his victim and takes it away, giving him hydraulic acid to give him a few minutes to talk. Reese learns the history. It was a team of 4 that fled to New York to have a new life. But Cole was someone who was rather traded for them to have that life. Reese follows him, attempting to stop his killing spree. As a former covert operative himself, Reese understands Cole's pain and sense of betrayal, but knows he cannot allow him to continue his revenge mission. Going after his next target, Cole finds out that Anya is still alive, but is afraid of him more than anyone else. Reese comes a bit late, but they get the clue about Anya being alive. They go to the route where the German intelligence agent was headed and block his way. Reese tells him that he can save Anya, and the agent gives him a paper with her address on it. Cole makes it to Anya's home, but he finds Reese there. Cole takes down Reese and starts to torture him for answers. He finds out that Anya has a daughter now and is about to kill Reese, but Fusco intervenes. Cole takes his daughter hostage, but taking information out of her, she learns that she thinks highly of her father, but believes he died a hero, which strikes Cole. The family reunion happens, and before Cole can do anything, Reese shoots Heim and Finch takes Anya and her daughter away. Cole and Reese share a moment together as peas of the same pod, and then the time turns back to 2006. Reese has a new partner as he works for the CIA, Kara Senton. As she is his senior, she has all the things on him, including his relationship. Reese is now on edge. They meet 2 more agents who were flagged to be informants for the terrorists. Senton takes down both of them with ease. Stenton does reminds of Finch, and we get to know where he got the name John Reese from. As the show tells, the world considers Finch and Reese as dead. The episode begins with the old times when Carter was serving in the military. In the current time, Carter is still searching for Elias and reaches out to Don, Elias's father, to gather more information to help her on this case. Carter warns Don that Elias may be coming to get him this time, but Don retaliates, saying that the one worrying should be her, not him. Later, Carter is on a case and Reese is there too, but the number came a bit late. Finch tells Reese that they have a new number. This time, Machine delivers an unexpected number, Detective Joss Carter herself. Finch and Reese are immediately thrown into a difficult situation. How do they protect someone who is actively trying to capture them? Carter has a son to look after, and Finch puts a camera in her car. Reese begins shadowing Carter and quickly learns that she has made some dangerous enemies. A lot of concerning enemies, and she never backs down, with the number being in lower 300. Fusco has been given a toy with camera in it, so that they can keep an eye on Carter at all times. She has made a lot of sources to get her intel from, even if it needs bribing. Hell-bent on getting closer to Elias as Don is not being of help. Fusco finds out that the higher-ups in command are the ones trying to get a hit on her, to get her out of the picture. But one behind it all? Elias. And not only that, even the Russian mafia is after her. Reese, working in the shadows, finds interest in her ways. Even going back to past, she has her ways to get information out of people. Reese puts her in Fusco's care and takes on the Russian mob that threatened Carter, stealing their weapons and car. Another glimpse of past shows Carter negotiating with compassion and getting through others. continuing to investigate the ongoing murders, soon to be her time. Reese doesn't want people like Carter to be lost. Carter gets a call from a woman that is about to be killed by her husband, and Reese listens in. Carter and Fusco rushes to their house but finds the husband hanging from the ceiling and the woman in the bathroom, grateful that Reese showed up. She gets a call and hands it to Carter. Reese warns Carter that she is in danger and which group is after her. Carter is curious about how he gets his information, but her life is important right now. At the station, Elias takes the files and brings flowers. Carter sees the card and understands she is in deep trouble. Carter, alongside the SWAT team, shows up at a warehouse in Queens where the Russian mob may be hiding the one after Carter. Reese disguises himself as one of the SWAT members and they infiltrate the building. Things go smoothly, but Reese is unsure if the threat has been eliminated. Carter goes to meet her informant, but he is working for Elias and shoots Carter. Reese comes to the rescue. Flashback happens and we see that Carter gave word to the man she negotiated with that she will protect him, but that didn't come to be as he was killed, and the forces say that it is not their duty to care about the families. Back in present, Reese tells Carter that she is not alone, so she should be more careful. Reese goes to the captain and threatens him into revoking the orders to take out Carter. By the end of the episode, Carter reconsiders the man in the suit. Is he really the villain she thought he was? The episode opens with a car crash. Later, Reese is trying to find anything about Finch. This time, the machine delivers an unusual result, multiple numbers at once. Finch gives Reese the address for one, and before he heads out, Finch says quite an iconic phrase.
Careful what you look for, Mr. Reese, or you might find it.
The scene shifts to Carter in the police station being investigated because she came in contact with Reese. This time, she's not giving out any information about Reese, even though she was fixated on capturing the man in the suit. Later, Reese goes to the apartment of one of the numbers, but is too late. The crime scene has already been reported and the victim is dead. The machine is late again. Fusco enters the scene as well and notices Reese. This time, Finch also has to do some tracking because the situation is getting out of hand. 3 numbers to go. One for Reese, one for Finch, and one for Fusco. At the police station, Carter is being forced to tell the higher-ups about Reese or else they would take her badge. While Reese was shadowing Wendy, he enters thinking that the biker was the threat, but it was just a post guy. Wendy notices Reese, and as an excuse, Reese says that he is here for an appointment, but gets caught in the situation. But a fresh cut doesn't hurt anyone. Fusco is on to Paula, and she is seen trading something. Chasing her, Fusco loses sight of her. Finch tracks Matt, and he is buying a new bike. It seems like all 3 were on a spending spree. Wonder how they got that money. Finch notices someone putting a stroller next to Matt's car, and it was a bomb. An explosion happens, and they lose another number. Seems like the crash that happened at the beginning of the episode is connected. The group found cocaine in the car crash. Finch tracks down where their phones could have intersected, and they find it place of the car crash. They come up with a possible address that both could be at. While in the police station, they are getting close to their investigation. The car crash was of the congressman's son. Carter is now allowed to leave, placed under surveillance. Fusco is guided to go there and put the phone so that they can hear from the congressman directly. Turns out he knew what his son was into, and now it has caused a lot of casualties. However, something doesn't check out. That is the route of the son's car. I checked the address Finch gave.
If you're gonna buy a gun, make sure you know how to use it.
Reese infiltrates and finds out that the last 2 survivors are foster sisters. A hitman arrives and Reese takes him down while also losing track of the sisters. Carter is being followed by the CIA and she confronts them. The agents state that they know him and that he is dangerous, bringing up Kate Senton, the one who gave him his name. Blaming her death on Reese, but Carter doesn't understand what they are on about. Reese gets back with Wendy, but Paula is not there. Wendy tells Reese everything about what happened. On the other end, Paula gets kidnapped. Finch goes to the congressman and offers him a chance to clean all his son's dirty money, and he takes the offer. Finch gives him a pen, which is obviously a camera, recording his upcoming talk, proving that he was into all the drug trade as well and sending the recording to Fusco. Reese calls Carter and gives her heads up on where Paula is kidnapped. Carter thanks Reese but is unable to figure out the right thing to do. She calls the CIA agents and gives them the address. Reese gets ambushed but still manages to rescue Paula. Finch hears a recording of Carter with the CIA and he needs to alert Reese. In turn of events, Carter, Mark, and John have a face-to-face. Snipers on the roof open fire at Reese, but he escapes and so does Carter. In another turn of events, Finch comes to save Reese and Carter sees both of them. Giving up all she knows, she decides to help the both of them. And this is quite the cliffhanger. And there you have it, another set of episodes that would keep you wondering and curious for more. Make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell icon for upcoming recaps.